Hey everyone, I'm back from my wisdom teeth extraction, so I'll try to do this without popping the stitches if at all possible, but I do need to speak about this because Mozilla has done something weird again, and I'm done giving them the benefit of the doubt. So I'm gonna cover what they did inside of Firefox, why I think this is the last straw, and why I think their explanations really don't hold any water, and I also cover every single other time where we gave them the benefit of the doubt, and why this time I think it really is too much. But we'll start with this segue to our sponsor. So this video is sponsored by TuxCare. They offer an entire suite of solutions that let you update your Linux systems without needing to reboot through rebootless patching. And they also offer endless lifecycle support for Linux distributions, for system libraries, for development languages, and for software development frameworks like PHP, Python, Spring, and now .NET 6. .NET 6 reached end of life in November 2024, but if you couldn't port your applications to a newer version, or you simply cannot port them at all, TuxCare has you covered. They'll keep providing you with updates and security fixes for the .NET installer, the ASP.NET Core runtime, the .NET runtime itself, the .NET SDK, all of it both on Windows and on Linux. And for Windows users specifically, the .NET Desktop runtime is also supported. This will let you keep using the applications you've built for as long as you need, so you can stay compliant with your security obligations, you can stay secure, and you can decide when you need to migrate to a newer version of .NET. They are also running a limited time only early adopter program where you can get all of that endless lifecycle coverage for free right now, and when it is actually launched for the general public, you'll also gain 6 more months of free security updates and support. So click the link in the description to learn more about TuxCare's endless lifecycle program for .NET 6, but also for Linux distros, software development frameworks, languages, and a lot more. Okay, so why the clickbaity title? Why am I ditching Firefox as a browser and virtually every single Mozilla product that I'm using, including Thunderbird? Well, that started because Firefox introduced some new terms of use recently. It's important to note that Firefox just did not have really any terms of use before February 28th, which was just last week. What they added seems very simple in scope. They just say that you give Mozilla the rights necessary to operate Firefox. This includes processing your data, as they described in the privacy notice. But where the problem is this. This also includes a non-exclusive, royalty-free, worldwide license for the purpose of doing as you request with the content you input in Firefox. This does not give Mozilla any ownership of that content. This sounds innocuous enough because, well, it just means, yeah, we need to be able to access what you actually type and input into the browser so we can actually run the browser. So if you type a search in the omnibar, we can run a search with that. If you type a URL, we can access that URL specifically. If you input some settings or some user info in your Firefox account, we can actually use it to connect you to the Firefox account, hit your bookmarks. This seems like a normal thing to require. And this does not give Mozilla any license to own that content. It is non-exclusive, so you're not restricting yourself from sharing it with other people. This does not sound that bad. Until you realize that the vague wording also does mean that Firefox has access to everything that you type inside the browser and potentially anything you upload through it, because the data or the content that you upload through Firefox or any website that you access through Firefox is still content that Firefox needed to use so they could provide you with the basic navigation and browsing functionalities. So technically, with this, Firefox has access to virtually every single thing that you do in the browser, and they have the rights to use it to make the browser work, which again is an extremely vague turn of phrase because depending on what they add onto the browser later, they could say that this data is needed to make that thing work, and I'm hinting at AI stuff here. Now, the second problem with these terms is that Mozilla has the right to update or terminate this agreement at any time. Now, obviously, Mozilla can update these terms. The thing is, you won't really have to re-accept them. They will take your continued use of Firefox as acceptance of such changes. meaning that you will not get a notification inside the browser telling you, hey, the terms of use have changed, do you want to comply with them? No, they're just gonna auto sign you up for whatever they changed inside of those terms, which is in a lot of countries, as far as I know, not how privacy should be handled. Specifically in France and the EU, consent has to be explicitly given, so if you change those terms of use, I don't think keeping using Firefox is a valid way to keep those terms consented to from a user, but I'm no legal expert. What's for sure is that Firefox will just update those terms in the background, and if you never know what they changed, then you will have agreed to it implicitly without accepting anything. That, in my mind, makes it totally unacceptable already. Another sticking point, the termination. These terms apply until you or Mozilla decide to end them. Specifically, Mozilla says that they can suspend or end anyone's access to Firefox at any time for any reason. This does not seem very compliant with open source or free software, because technically for something to be open source or free software, which Firefox is supposed to be, you can't place extra restrictions on the rights that the license already grants you, and this is clearly a restriction because Mozilla can decide to say you don't have any right to use Firefox anymore because some reason. Now, how could they enforce this? This is really unclear. They can't really get to your house and rip out Firefox from your computer. They probably cannot even send an update to your Firefox to disable it and block it, but that's still not good to have that in the terms of service. Now, Mozilla posted a little update on this because obviously a lot of people were unhappy. So they're saying they've seen a little confusion and that they need this license to allow them to make use of some basic functionality of Firefox. Without it, they couldn't use information typed into Firefox. It does not give them ownership, blah, 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 blah. And this is a very strange justification that I just cannot accept as is. Maybe it's just me, but Firefox has been working without any of these authorizations or terms of service for what, 2 decades now? Almost? Maybe even more? Not sure when it released, but it was a long while ago. And they didn't need that. Throughout every single new privacy law, the GDPR, anything else, they didn't need to add those terms of service to make use of what you type inside of Firefox. So saying that right now they absolutely need to have those terms of service, to have the rights to collect that data and to access it and potentially store it and reuse it, just because if not Firefox would stop working, that's just not a good excuse. It doesn't work because it makes no sense. There has been no new law forcing Mozilla to do so. There has been no specific privacy complaint anywhere, because if it were, they would have mentioned it in trying to defend these terms of use when people got really mad about them. So this just doesn't really sound true at all. Now, if it had been just the terms of service, maybe we could have brushed that away saying, oh yeah, maybe the legal context changed, or maybe they have more careful lawyers. But that's not it. Previously, they specifically said that they didn't sell the personal data of users to advertisers. They removed every single mention of this. Now, they just do not mention anywhere that they do not sell that personal data. They also had it directly in the source code of that FAQ page to the answer to the question, is Firefox free? They used to say, we don't sell your personal data. Now they just say you don't pay anything to use it. Everywhere where Firefox seemed to mention that they do not sell user data, this mention has been removed. And Mozilla explained that away as well, saying, oh, you know, the definition of selling is very different in different jurisdictions, and so for legal reasons, we couldn't really use that term. Except that's also a really weird justification, because first, you're not supposed to collect any personal information up to that point. That's why you introduced the terms of service, to have the right to collect and access that data. So you wouldn't really be affected by any definition of the word selling because you didn't have anything to sell. No matter how wide the definition of the word selling data is, if you don't have anything to sell, then you can't sell it. Which inherently means that if you're affected by these broad definitions, you do have something to sell. And also, I really do not think that the word sell is that misunderstood all across the world, really. Now, where everything leads towards is, in my opinion, AI. Mozilla has not made it a secret that they do want to find new sources of revenue while strengthening Firefox. And the specific thing that they want to do is to develop trustworthy open source AI to ensure their relevance in the midterm. And do you know what AI needs to be relevant? It's data. They need stuff to train the AI model on, or they need a big package of data that can be sold to already existing models to help them get better. And that's exactly what I think Firefox is preparing to do. The fact that they need to collect some user data to make Firefox work is very likely a multi-step plan. What I'm seeing things evolving into is Firefox will add AI features in the browser, not as an extension, as their current Orbit browser extension does to add some AI assistance and stuff like that. They're gonna add that straight into the browser at some point without any extension. That's generally what they do. They start a side project as an extension and slowly it becomes a core part of the browser. That's what they're gonna do with their AI stuff. At that point, their terms of use will also include, transparently, without you ever noticing it or accepting it by clicking a button, those terms of use will include the fact that they're gonna use that data to train an AI model or to make the AI features work, which will very likely be just Firefox selling your browser data, maybe anonymized, maybe not, to AI companies. That's exactly what the plan sounds like to me. And honestly, it would make Firefox into a pretty big provider of browsing data for various AI companies, and it would create a big source of revenue for Firefox to get more independent from Google. So either they want to build their own AI tools inside of Firefox, or they just are going to plug in AI tools from other vendors, and they're going to sell browser data to those vendors. There is no confirmation of this. This is only my opinion, but judging from the moves they're doing, this is extremely likely to happen, and that's why I really think we need to stop giving Mozilla a shot. We gave them a pass for a lot of stuff already. Back at the end of 2023, Mitchell Baker, the CEO at the time, got a big 23% raise while Firefox was crashing down. This was explained away by saying, to retain high-profile, high-level CEOs that have the guts to do what's needed, we need to pay them a lot to be competitive, except this never materialized into any good stuff for Firefox or Mozilla. The company and the non-profit just kept crashing as executive pay kept rising, which is just not a good look. Then there was the privacy-preserving attribution stuff, which was basically ad tech that Firefox pushed without any user consent to every single web browser in there without asking for anyone, without notifying anyone. People freaked out about this because it really looked like Firefox was pivoting into ads and ad revenue-based stuff, which, yeah, they tried to do, but there was so much backlash that they forgot they even tried this technology, and we haven't heard about this since. But they did push it into the browser without warning anyone. They even said, it would have created confusion if we told users about this. They would not have understood. It was just better to push it silently. So they basically said, our users are stupid and we just didn't want to alarm them, which is extremely patronizing. You might also remember the time where Mozilla added a specific extension in a tie-in with the TV show Mr. Robot, and this was just pushed again to their users without any consent. They just added an extension immediately to browsers without asking for users' consent or if they wanted to install that. Again, not a very good thing to do if you want to look like you're open source, privacy respecting, user friendly, you're seeking consent. No, you're just pushing stuff onto users without asking them if they want to, just so you can make a quick buck. This does not look good. This also we forgave at the time. I think we've been very, very patient with Mozilla as they went through reorg after reorg, new exec, new board of directors, new non-profit, new for-profit, new subsidiary for Thunderbird. We've really, really given them the benefit of the doubt again and again and again. The fact of the matter is they're either completely incapable of good communication, which I hope is just that. I hope they are not nefarious or pivoting into AI and data selling and becoming just another spooky spying web browser. I hope it's just that. But even if it's that, we can't keep giving them the benefit of the doubt. It's enough. It's really more than enough, or at least it is enough for me personally, and I just do not want to be friendly with Mozilla anymore because they just keep doing that stuff, and we keep patting them on the back saying, poor Mozilla, they gotta do it. But no, they don't gotta do it. There are plenty of other ways they could be privacy respecting. They really, clearly do not want to be a non-profit anymore, and I don't think this is acceptable in the grand scheme of web browsers and how much confidence we can put in them. So personally, I already moved to Florp, which is a Firefox fork. It is maybe not the best one, and I need to check in on what exactly they remove or not. There are plenty of other Firefox-based browsers that do remove a lot of the Mozilla BS, like LibreWolf, like Molvad, like Florp, like Waterfox, Palemoon. A bunch of those do remove that. And honestly, if at that point you wanted to use something Chromium based instead because you really do not want to get mixed up with Mozilla anymore, I couldn't really blame you. I'm not for the Chromium monopoly on the web. I do think it's a terrible thing, but at that point I just do not trust Mozilla to do the good thing anymore. Personally, at the very least, I'll just stop using Firefox entirely. I'll use Florp as long as I can, and if I see that they keep some of that weird Mozilla touch, I will definitely move to something else. I will also stop using Thunderbird. There have been no specific complaints about Thunderbird, but it is a Mozilla thing, and I just think I'm done with them. I just cannot give them the benefit of the doubt in any of their software, so I'll replace it with another email client because I'm just done with Mozilla, and I really think you should probably stop giving them the benefit of the doubt too. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree with this? Do you think this is just another PR miscommunication that we should sweep under the rug? Let me know what you think, and in the meantime, I'll leave you with this segue to our sponsor. You know about them by now, they are Tuxedo computers. They ship laptops and desktops that have Linux pre-installed. All the hardware is very customizable and is specifically picked because it runs really well with Linux. They even contribute drivers to make sure that this stuff really works well. They have a big range of computers that will fit every price point and every need, and I personally only use their stuff nowadays. All my videos, all my podcasts, everything is recorded, edited, published, and followed, and answered, and whatever else on one of their laptops, and all my gaming needs are done through one of their computers as well, running Nobara Linux. So if you need a new computer, you want to run Linux on it, you want to support a company that actually contributes to Linux, click the link in the description below and check out Tuxedo Computers. In the meantime, thank you all for watching. You know what to do with the usual YouTube buttons, and I guess you'll see me in the next one, well, probably on Saturday. Bye!